So, I've always really loved the idea of Quasi Deities. From the very first moment they were introduced in Dragon Magazine, and then they were brought in the gold box for the Greyhawk box set, I just loved that whole concept, and I thought I'd kick around a few things around Quasi Deities and similar beings today on Greyhawk Grognard. So there's a whole hierarchy of types of beings between mere mortals and deities. The lowest deity, of course, being a demigod. Then you've got lesser deities, intermediate deities, greater deities. And, of course, you've got figures like demon lords and archdevils and stuff. They fall into the lesser deity category. But there's this whole range of creatures between mortal and demigod. And they seem to be in a hierarchy of hero, quasi-deity, hero-deity, then demigod. And the first of those, the heroes, are mentioned here in Deities and Demigods, or in the earlier book for the white box, Gods, Demigods, and Heroes. And the only thing that differentiates heroes as such from regular mortals seems to be that they're able to have multiple levels in different in different classes, even though they're human, and humans in theory can have one class and then switch to another, and then that's it. Heroes seem to have the ability to go beyond that and actually have multiple levels in multiple things. For example, the hero Jason, who's part of the Greek pantheon, he's a 16th level ranger, a 4th level thief, a 7th level bard. There are other examples like that. Where is it? I know, great TV. Watching me flip through a book. Anyway, there are other examples like that where we have different classes. Oh yeah, here we go. So Hiawatha, part of the American Indian mythos. He's an 8th level druid. He's a 15th level paladin, a 10th level ranger. So they're able to have multiple classes and races and classes and levels that you normally wouldn't see for a human. They also have all their saving throws are 3. Just like deities, all their saving throws are 1s. All of heroes have a straight across the board saving throw of 3. That's in the beginning of this here. So that seems to be what defines a hero. Is that those two things. When you go a step further into quasi-deities, they seem to have a whole nother range of things. And they were originally introduced in Dragon Magazine back in the 80s. They were then incorporated into the glossography, which was in the gold box, Greyhawk, back in the day. And there are 3 quasi-deities mentioned in the book, Heward, Kiefdom, and Merlin. And of the 3, Merlin is probably the most widely mentioned elsewhere by Gygax in the original stuff. Specifically, his house is located in the land beyond the magic mirror, and we know that we know this because it's the wooden house, the magic mirror house. On the entry porch, the door of the entry porch has a small brass plate beside it, engraved with strange glyphs. Read languages will discover that the glyphs state Dr. D.R. Merlin, FKO, MLGTSA, which was a neat a nod to the wargaming club that was out there at the time, and that's not Merlin, it's Merlind. And then there's a whole bunch of there's some technological devices in the house and things like that, because Merlind was noted for his ability to kind of merge technology with magic. He's not the same as, but is based on Don Kay's character, Merlin, who famously had the boots of levitation and used those all the time. But the Gygaxian version of him, when Kay died, Gygax kind of deified his, threw that in as kind of an honor to honor his friend, and turn him into a semi-deity. And we know that there are other those three are active in the campaign when Gygax was running it back in the 80s. We also know that there were inactive Quasi Deities, Joy-D, Nolzer, Qual, Tourney. Those are all obviously associated with different magic items. You got Joy-D's mask, Nolzer's pen. Pigments, Qual's feather token, and Tourney's flask, but those were all NPC personages that were designed specifically to enhance the campaign at higher levels. But I like the idea that these very, very powerful beings exist, and they're a step above the highest level of PCs. They have some. They have a lot of different powers, obviously. The rules for comeliness seem to only apply to them, and they're actually given comeliness scores in the book. If it's seeable there, but they're in there. They have interesting personalities that are well developed and so forth. Heward, for example, is a 10th level magic user, 10th level illusionist, 20th level bard, and so forth and so on. Merlin is the one who dresses up like a cowboy and has his hog legs, which Gygax very specifically said are not 6-shooters that use gunpowder, but are actually magical devices that are designed to look like 6-shooters, but are actually magic wands of a special make that only Merlin could create because of his ability to merge magic and so forth. Now, there's another type of being, and that is the Hero-Deity. And the only example that we have here is Kellenin, the Prince of Swords, who was deliberately created by Gygax and Francois. I know I'm gonna butcher the name. Francois I'm not even going to try. The guy who did the Chronicles of the Black Moon and did a lot of had the area that was going to be as part of the world of Greyhawk and ended up not being. According to the text, Kellenin, the Sword Lord, is one of the very powerful individuals who might or might not be a true deity. Thus, he is known as a hero deity, and some who live by the sword pay him homage. That's about the earliest, the lowest level of a being that actually receives worship, or at least homage, as given in the text. So we have that. His powers don't seem to be particularly higher than the others. I mean, I guess a little bit, because he's got the two different intelligent swords that grant him a lot of powers. But him as a character doesn't seem to have a lot more than any of the other Quasi Deities do. I think it might just be the fact that he is revered by others. That's what tips the scale and makes him into a hero deity as opposed to a Quasi Deity. I personally think that the names are a little switched in terms of a steady progression, because you've got heroes, Quasi Deities, hero deities, deities. It seems to me that you'd want to have that step in between heroes and deities at the bottom. So it would be heroes, hero deities, Quasi Deities, deities. But that's just me trying to systematize something that doesn't necessarily want to be systematized. But I love these ideas. I like the idea that the different quasi-deities are often found in combinations with others and with some of the gods that we see. So, for example, Kedum is usually found with Zagig, or with Merlin, or with both of them, or with Celestion, or Celestion and Merlin together. They have got a bunch of different combinations of them, telling you that they're actually in kind of the social circles of the gods themselves, because they are so powerful and because they have all this knowledge and they've been around for so long and they know so many things, and they have these powers, that they're actually accepted as companions by the gods. So I kind of like that idea, that there are soft benefits to being at this level, is that you're not just stacking up powers in game terms, but there are also social things that open up to you when you reach a certain level of power. So I kind of like that. I myself try to throw them into my campaigns. Of course, not all the time, but I've had campaigns where the party had a patron who was kind of mysterious and so forth, and they never found out, but in truth, that patron was a Heward, kind of sort of guiding the PCs along to different things. But they the campaign ended before they got the payoff that their mysterious patron was actually a quasi-deity. So I like the idea of including them. I think they add a lot of flavor and color to the campaign that you don't normally see nowadays, because the concept has kind of gone away of these very powerful characters who aren't quite deities yet, but they're on the way. It's usually either you're immortal, or boom, you're a god. So I kind of like that. It makes things messy, and the messier things are in a campaign, the more realistic it feels to me, and thus the more I like it. So anyway, those are my thoughts. What have you guys ever used the quasi-deities? What do you think? Love to hear from you in the comments. Thanks for watching today's video. Please remember to hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. Below you'll find links to my Patreon, which helps make these videos possible. You'll also find the web store where you can buy my books, and my blog where you'll find all sorts of free downloads and other articles. Thanks, and have a great day.